All right. 1, 2, 3. Hi, this is Joe with PrepAgent. I'm here with my friend Belinda. How's it going, Belinda?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm ready to get you prepared for your real estate exam so you can be an awesome agent and sell enormous houses and properties all over the world.
Yay! Yes.
Okay. Remember to speak into the mic so everybody can hear you, so it comes off super loud. So you may have to speak a little closer to your mic than you're used to. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Say okay as loud as you can just once.
Okay.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, and before I begin, my little plug for the day, go to prepagent.com so you could have exam questions, audio files, ebooks, outline, vocabulary lists, crosswords, and more. And so we're ready to go. So you sent me a bunch of questions, and I want to go over those questions with you. And we're also going to maybe learn some techniques about how to pass the exam. How does that sound?
Great.
Okay, so here's the first question you sent me. Can you read that out loud?
Under a multiple listing service, the property owner pays A, only the selling broker, B, the same commission to both the listing and selling broker, C, only the listing broker, or D, splits the commission 50-50 between the listing and selling broker.
Okay. So let me ask you this question first. Don't answer that. What is a listing? Give me everything you
Um,
know about a listing. Barf out all your knowledge. Let's start with this. It's a contract, right?
yes.
Okay. It's a contract to do what? What do you think?
Um,
When you get hired by an agent, so I go to you and I'm like, hey, Belinda, I hate my house. I want to get rid of it. And I see you're the most awesome agent in the world. What do we do? What happens?
we sign a contract,
That contract is called,
listing
there you go.
contract.
Boom, the listing agreement. That's a listing agreement. Okay? Now,
Okay.
what am I hiring you to do? So I'm the seller, you're an agent. What am I hiring you to do?
You're hiring me to sell the house.
Nope, not hiring you to sell a house. What I'm actually doing is I'm hiring you to find a buyer. I know we're getting into the technicalities of this, but we do want to pass the exam, so we got to know them, right?
Right.
So I'm actually hiring you to to find a buyer, not sell the house. Find a ready, willing, able buyer.
Right.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. I'll take it a step further. Am I actually hiring you?
You're hiring the broker.
Exactly. Why? I mean, you're the one doing the work, not the broker. Why am I hiring him?
Because as an agent, I'm under the broker.
That is perfect. The only thing I'd like you to do better is say that more confidently because you said it perfectly.
Oh, okay.
Just say it one more time with a little more
So,
confidence and pizzazz.
so the reason you're hiring the broker is because I'm an agent and I'm under the broker.
Right. So technically, I'm hiring the broker to find a ready, willing, and able buyer. Okay? Not you.
Right.
You are actually working under the broker to do his work for him, and he
Right.
takes on the legal responsibility. Not to go off on a tangent here, but can you name different types of listings really quick for me?
Um, an open listing,
Good, that's a listing. What else do you got?
a net listing,
Well, real quick, what's the opposite of an open listing?
exclusive agency listing.
Exclusive listing. And
Uh-huh.
then under
And
that, there is what you were talking about.
exclusive right to sell.
Yeah. Okay, so under that, you have the open listing, exclusive right to sell, exclusive agency, and you mentioned net listing, right?
Okay.
What's an exclusive listing?
An exclusive listing is where there's one broker, right?
Yep.
And the owner can also sell the house too. And if the owner sells the house,
I'm
then
going to stop you for a second because you're
okay,
overthinking it a little. An exclusive listing just means that one broker. Okay?
okay,
What you started to get into, and the reason I stopped you, is a different type of exclusive listing.
okay,
Does that make sense?
yes,
What you started to describe, well, was an exclusive. I believe you're starting to describe exclusive agency listing, which is where if the owner sells it themselves, they could pay the broker nothing.
right,
Exclusive right to sell, which is what you're going to sign when you do business, says, I don't care if the owner sells it, your dog sells it, or the dude across the street sells it. I'm getting my money.
yeah,
And the reason you do that is because you're going to market the property, try and solicit buyers, and do a lot of work. And you want to make sure you get paid. Exclusive agency, there's a chance you won't get paid. Do you know what an open listing is?
that's it's not exclusive, so it's multiple brokers.
Awesome. Perfect. And a net listing?
So if the house is sold for a certain amount, and if there's anything over that, like if you get more than what the listing cost is, then that's your commission. And then
Perfect.
if you don't, then you don't get paid.
Right, which is why it's illegal in many states. Because if
Right,
you sell for 550 and the owner wants 500 grand, you get 50 grand. Awesome. But if a buyer comes for 500 grand, you can't turn it away. But you're going to want to because you're not going to get any money. But the owner will
right.
say, I don't care if you get money. That's what I wanted. And there's a conflict of interest. So let's circle back to your question. Now, I would like you to read this and this time answer it.
Okay. Under a multiple listing service, the property owner pays only the listing broker.
Awesome. Perfect. So many people think that you share the commission with the person who brought the buyer, the person who represents the seller shares the person who brought the buyer, but it's actually not how it works. It's actually the broker gets paid, and then the broker shares that commission with the other broker. And then they divvy it up with their agent accordingly. People aren't
Right.
aware of that
Okay.
because it all gets finished in the escrow process. In
Okay.
your test, you have to know the listing broker is the one who gets paid.
Okay.
Sounds good?
Yes.
Another handsome picture of me. Right. Okay, read this one, please.
A fiduciary relationship exists, A, as party of any agency, B, as part of all agencies except a buyer agency, C, in a general agency only, or D, in a specific agency only.
Okay, don't answer that just yet.
Um,
What's a
oh, okay.
fiduciary relationship? We'll answer it in a second. But let's first get some learning done here. What's a fiduciary relationship?
It's like you have loyalty and you it's between the agent and the principal.
Good. You have the
And
gist of it.
okay.
It's basically when you put your client's interest above your own. You have their interest at heart. Here, read this.
The law of agency is an area of commercial law dealing with a set of contractual, quasi-contractual, and non-contractual fiduciary relationships that involve a person, called the agent, that is authorized to act on behalf of another, called the principal, to create legal relations with the third party.
Okay. Fancy way of saying you're working for them. Now, just reading that, is there any type of agency relationship where you're working with somebody where you think it'd be okay not to have their interest at heart?
Um,
Not really. If you didn't have their interest at heart, you
no.
shouldn't be working for them.
Right.
And you see it here. Contractual, quasi-contractual, non-contractual, like what else is there? There's everything. So when you read this question again and tell me what you think the answer is.
A fiduciary relationship exists as part of any agency?
Yeah, I mean, there's no agency where it's a good idea to not have the principal's interest at heart.
Right.
So you think about that logically. If you understand what fiduciary means, then the answer comes easy. And I want to review that with people listening and yourself. Today, a gentleman called me and he said, "Where do I begin?" And I told him, don't do anything until you have the vocabulary nailed down. Don't look at questions, don't do multiple choice questions, don't do crosswords, don't read books, don't watch movies, don't discuss it with teachers or anything until you have the vocabulary nailed down. Because then everything will be much easier once you look at these questions. Otherwise, it gets confusing. Now, you can't stop at learning the vocabulary, but that's going to give you the foundation to understand all these questions you're going to be doing. Otherwise, when you do multiple choice questions, you're really just filling out bubbles. Or bubbles.
Yeah.
That's very, I just dated myself. When was the last time we filled out bubbles? In the 80s? Right?
In the 80s.
Do you remember Scantron sheets? I don't know how old you are. Don't have to say. Don't say. Don't say. Be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Scantron.
I remember Scantron.
Right. All you have to say is you like the show The Goldbergs, and then you just gave it what you just dated yourself totally, right along with me. Okay, so excuse me. All you're doing is hitting buttons, not filling out bubbles. Okay. Do you remember you have to fill out the Scantron? They were like, fill it out completely. Don't check it, and don't go outside the lines.
Yes, I remember that.
I hated that. I'd always use an excuse of why I failed. Okay, so here we go. Fiduciary relationship exists as part of any agency. All right. And they thought it was so fancy you could put the Scantron on the machine and it would come back with your results. And now what happens? You take your real estate exam, you hit enter, wham, fail, or wham, pass. It's like right there. How scary is it to hit that last button on your real estate exam? You're like, oh man, it's petrifying, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. Read this question for me.
Okay. Which of the following is a violation of the Fair Housing Amendment Act?
Okay, read all the answers.
A, an ad listing an age requirement for ownership. B, an ad indicating that a property was affordable housing. C, a deed restricting ownership to certain groups. Or D, an ad noting that an apartment is a fourth floor walk-up.
Okay.
I think
Well, let me ask you this. What do you know about fair housing?
it was put in place to prevent people from discriminating
Exactly.
against certain groups.
Exactly. So there's a lot of laws and rules you learn for the real estate exam and as you continue to practice real estate. But you got to know what applies to what. Like the Americans with Disabilities Act, what that applies to, what Fair Housing Act applies to, what Truth in Lending applies to, all these kind of things. So this one, could you read this one for me, please?
Yes. Fair housing. At the urging of President Lyndon Johnson, Congress passed the Federal Fair Housing Act only 1 week after the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. on April 11, 1968. The 1968 Act expanded on previous acts and prohibited discrimination based on race, religion, national origin, sex, and as amended, handicap and family status concerning the sale, rental, and financing of housing.
Right, so this directly applies to us. You just got to remember the 60s, big time in our history. So April 4th, 1968, Martin Luther King gets assassinated. Okay, 1 week after his passing, Lyndon Johnson passes the Federal Fair Housing Act, which prohibits discrimination. So when we look at this question, can you read this question again?
Which of the following is a violation of the Fair Housing Amendment Act?
So which one of these have to do with discrimination?
Restricting ownership to certain groups.
Perfect, good. So the others are bad, but it has to do with what goes with what. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's the other ones aren't even that bad. Okay, moving on to a different topic. Are we learning a lot so far? Are we doing well?
Yes.
Good. Okay, so let's read this one.
An estate of indeterminate duration is A estate from period to period, B freehold estate, C leasehold estate, or D estate at will.
Okay, so the logical question I have for you, based on this question, what is a freehold estate? Okay, so freeholds, unrestricted. What I'm referring to is time. Okay, a freehold estate is indefinite in time. It's not restricted to any certain amount of time. You have a freehold. Do whatever you want with it.
Uh-huh.
As opposed to what? A less than freehold estate. What's a less than freehold estate? Do you know?
Um, then it means that you do have restrictions.
Regarding time. Yeah. There's
Right.
another more commonly known word for these less than freehold estates. It's a lease. Can you name different types of freehold estates?
Um, oh, I know one.
Okay, great.
Oh, fee simple defeasible.
That's one. We're rocking.
Um, fee simple absolute,
You're killing it. Good. You're doing very well.
and then a life estate.
So good. Feasible absolute. Then you said. Oh my god, I have no idea how to spell. Fee simple absolute is one. You
Yes,
said a life estate was another.
yes.
And
And
you
fee
also
simple defeasible.
good. Nice. I have no idea how to spell that. Sorry, people in YouTube land. Make comments below about how to correct my spelling. I'd appreciate it.
It's an I instead of an A. Sible.
And the student becomes the teacher. Nice.
No, you were right. Like you have Si. Sorry.
DEF.
EASI.
There you go. Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fee simple defeasible. Okay, so freehold means indefinite in time. What's fee simple absolute?
I believe that's the greatest interest in land.
It is. It's supposed to be the
Right.
greatest, the
Okay.
maximum,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Okay, life estate.
A life estate is you only have the property for the well, I know this.
I know you do. When we spoke on the phone
It's
yesterday, you even brought up my
I
awesome video
know,
on
I
life
know.
estates. The life estate is when I have an estate based upon the life of another person.
Yes.
So the example I use in another video that I made is when I have a property, okay, and I am the king. And I gave it to the knights, and I said, you must defend my life because if I die, you lose that property. So you're motivated to keep me alive because you're rich, because you're a landowner. So you have the property based upon my life as your king. Life estate.
Mhm. Right.
For more details on that, please hit in the YouTube search, PrepAgent Life Estate. That was actually my first video I did. Little fact for you. The first video I made. So please excuse the bad audio in that video. Okay.
No, it's fine.
It's also one of your favorite videos, isn't it?
I do love that one.
It's a good one. Okay, and fee simple defeasible means what?
That means that there is a condition. So, and I think it's, well, yes, there's a condition. So I guess the example would be if they put a condition on it where you couldn't sell alcohol on the property. If you do, you would lose it.
Excellent. So it's defeated upon the happening of a certain condition. Upon that condition, you lose the property. Fee simple to feasible. Your estate is defeated. Okay, less than freehold estates. Can you name any of those?
Oh, right. Okay. Estate for years. Estate at sufferance.
Excellent, that's one. But you're missing one
Um,
in the middle.
oh,
There's actually missing two. Periodic tenancy and estate at will. Okay? All right. So these less than freehold estates, you got estate for years, which is what? What's an estate for years? Do you know?
Is it for like a specific time frame?
Excellent. Good. Say no more. That was perfect. So it'd be like for 6 months or a specific date. And that's the best one for the landlord because the landlord can already rent the property even after the first day you move in because he knows when you're leaving. So that's great for a landlord. You manage property, correct?
Yes, I do.
So the more time you have to find a new tenant, the better it is. Right?
Yes, it is.
So
Yes.
periodic tenancy is like month to month, which is probably a little closer to what you're used to seeing.
Yes.
Estate at will means they just got up and left. Said, see ya, bye, I'm gone. That's terrible for you as a property manager and landlord, isn't it?
Yes.
What could be worse than somebody just get up and leaving without any notice?
Someone being there and you don't want them to be there.
Yeah, they don't leave. They don't leave. Exactly.
Yeah, they don't leave.
The only thing worse than somebody leaving on a moment's notice is them not leaving at all. And the more layman's term for estate at sufferance, I think, is called a deadbeat tenant.
Yes. I've had some of those.
Yeah, basically, you were suffering. Estate at sufferance. Okay? All right, so we just did that, the different types of less. Now, let's see if we can do this question. Let's read this question again, take another stab at it.
Okay. An estate of an indeterminate duration is a freehold estate?
I don't know. Awesome. Pretty exciting. Freehold estate.
I'm like, no, that's it. That's it.
I know. Did you like my added suspense there?
Yeah, like, are you sure? I don't
I
think
know.
you're sure.
Am I over the top with putting my image here? Tell me honestly, or does it work for me?
No, it's okay.
It's okay, good. Branding.
Oh,
Don't do that. Don't yawn on me. Can't yawn. Okay, was that a yawn or just like, woo, that was an awesome picture?
yeah. Ooh, that was an awesome picture.
That's what that was. You're like, what? That's great. Okay, read this for me.
Okay. Joseph Gomez died without known heirs, and his estate is turned over to the state, which is known as reversion by A, escheat, B, estoppel, C, eminent domain, and D, rescission.
Okay, so before you answer that, which you may know the answer, I'd like to give you a different question. Don't you love how you might know the answer, but instead of letting you answer, I give you a harder question?
Yeah, that's great.
But then when you go back to the
Excited about
question,
it.
it's easier, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's my harder question. Can you name the government
Oh,
powers?
yes.
Okay, whatever.
Pete.
What'd you say?
Pete? No.
Good.
Um, police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat.
Okay, eminent domain. Okay. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. Okay. So those are the four government powers. And as you correctly said, you remembered it by using the name. Tell us again.
Pete.
Good. Pete. Police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat. I'll make it blink for everybody. Okay. So police power has to do with zoning. Eminent domain has to do with the government taking your property for the greater good of the public, such as expanding highways. Taxation is when they take your money for the right to use the land and goes towards public services. And escheat is what? What's escheat?
I think that's when you don't have a someone like an heir or somebody on a will and it reverts back to the state.
Yes. So basically, you have
Is that right?
property, but you got no friends or family or anything.
Right.
And at the time of this recording, we're getting ready for Christmas, aren't we?
Yes.
Ebenezer Scrooge, what was his deal?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Ebenezer Scrooge, Christmas Carol or Tale? Christmas Carol?
Oh, yeah.
He's the old rich guy who had no friends, no family, and all that money. Well, if he
Right.
died, his property would escheat to the state because he has no heirs or anything of that nature. He just had his money and his property.
Right.
That's why he wanted to befriend, what was his name? Tiny Tim, the kid with the who couldn't walk correctly, and the family took him in and all that kind of stuff. I haven't seen that
I
movie.
don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember either. I should just stop talking about it. I don't remember that, but I do remember the it's Christmas time. Give back for the other ones that know this Christmas time.
You're like in a singing mood tonight.
I am. So everybody in YouTube land knows, before we got on the line, we were singing the new Coldplay song. I won't sing it for everybody. I'll ruin it. Okay, so read this one and tell me what the answer is. Now you should know.
Jo- Joseph Gomez died without known heirs, and his estate, which is known as reversion by escheat. A.
Awesome. Good. So let's change that Joseph Gomez to Ebenezer Scrooge, and we'll get in the holiday spirit. What do you know about Christmas? You're in California, Los Angeles, where they don't have snow or anything. You don't have.
I know everything about Christmas because I'm from Chicago.
Oh, boy, do you know everything.
Yep.
As far as I was concerned, growing up, I thought the capital of Christmas was Wisconsin.
Wow, that's funny.
You know why? Because that story, the Christmas story where the kid gets his tongue attached to the pole.
Oh, yes, I love that movie.
Right, and that's Wisconsin. So growing up, I was like, that's the capital of Christmas because every kid watched that, and there was Wisconsin.
Wow.
I know. If you don't like
Now
that
I
movie,
have
you
to
don't
watch.
have a heart.
Now I have to watch it.
I know. After you pass. Which brings us to the
Okay,
next
yeah.
question. Read this one out loud.
The grantee in transferring a title is the lender, B, seller of the property, C, buyer of the property, or D, person overseeing the transaction.
Okay, and my harder follow question for you is, do we know our OREE rule?
Yes, the OR is the giver and the EE receives.
Good. Okay, so Santa Claus is a giftor, and the children will be giftees. OR gives, EE receives. Okay, so knowing that, you run property, right? And you rent it out.
Yes,
Are you a lessor or a lessee?
I'm the lessor.
Perfect. Excellent. Good. So in regard to this question, what's the answer? So read the question again, and let's see what the answer is.
The grantee is transferring a title. Oh, the grantee in transferring a title is the Um, buyer of the property?
Say it with more confidence.
Buyer of the property.
You're wrong. Psych, no, I'm just kidding. You're totally right. It's buyer of the. I'm like, say it with confidence. Wrong. Okay, the grantee and transferring title is the buyer of the properties he receives. Lessee, vendee, optionee, grantee, give me property, makes me happy.
Happy.
Do the other one.
Ooh.
Lessor, vendor, optionor, grantor, the give or the proprietor for your
Pleasure.
pleasure. Good. There you go. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay, private mortgage insurance is required if the borrower A is a veteran, B does not qualify for the FHA mortgage insurance program, C is borrowing more than 80% of the purchase price, or D has been foreclosed once.
Okay. Ooh, bad. All right, what's the answer to this one?
Uh, is borrowing more than 80% of the purchase price.
Perfect. Because they want to take down the risk. It's all about risk for the lender. They want to lessen their risk. And if you are not putting much down, it's a higher risk for the lender. What's the
Right.
FHA all about? Let me ask this. Can you get an FHA loan?
No?
No.
Right, they don't make loans, they insure.
FHA
No.
insures the lender. Okay, I'm going to do a little history with you real quick. And once again, there's a whole video on this for anybody who wants to watch. So 1934, what was going on? Or 1920, excuse me, what was going on?
The was it no?
1920s,
That wasn't the
Babe Ruth
depression,
hitting home
right?
runs. People are swing dancing. Everybody's happy. Woo! Roaring 20s. Okay?
Yes.
And everybody's all excited. But there was a problem. People started borrowing money to get properties, but only the rich could really borrow money. The poor could not. The rich got richer, the poor got poorer, and we led into this thing called the Great Depression because the rich got loans where they had to pay back in 7 years and put down the huge down payments, things that were not realistic to poor people. So it became a country of renters. And as you know, you can't get rich by renting. So the whole country became more poor, and the government was like, hey, banks, you got to lend money. The banks were like, no, no way, I'm not doing it. Terrible idea. They're poor. I don't want to lend them money. And the government was like, you got to do it because we're in a depression. You got to lend them money. And the bank was like, absolutely not. The rich people give us huge down payments and pay us back in 7 years. That's awesome. Want nothing to do with these poor people. And by the way, it sounded just like that, the conversation. Exactly like that. And the government said, well, I'll tell you what, if that poor person qualifies, okay, I want you to lend them money, and they'll put down, I don't know, something like 3%, and they'll pay you back in 30 years. And that's when the FHA was born. Was the government's way of insuring the bank from loss and promoting them to lend to people who don't have as much money for these huge down payments and don't have the ability to pay things back in 7 years. So it all started as a way to insure the banks so that they would lend money to get out of the depression. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes.
And this led to the secondary market, which is in the other video. Okay, do you know what the secondary market is?
Um, oh, I'm not quite sure.
It's the resale marketplace. So investors would buy those long loans and then resell them, and then the banks would take that money from selling those loans and be able to lend to more people, and so on down the line.
Okay.
All right. Watch that video on secondary market for me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Pure Autre V. Okay, read this one.
A pure autre V estate is one in which a person has ownership of a property only for his or her lifetime. B, the grantor has a right of reversion. C, person given interest in a property for the duration the life of someone else, or D, a syndicate owns property.
Okay. What's pure autre v? Basically, this is, and this I go back to, this is just vocab. Do you know what this word means?
I'm not sure.
It means
I
for the
is that
life
is it
of another.
okay?
Okay, so pure autre v just means for the life of another. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you just know the vocabulary, you'll be good to go. Okay, so what do you think the answer is in this one?
C, a person giving interest in a property for the duration of the life of someone else.
Perfect. Excellent. Okay, so thanks for Belinda for attending today. And I hope you learned something. Did you learn anything?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good. So I hope you learned something. Other than that, remember to go to PrepAgent.com and you guys could send me a message through the Facebook page or email me at joe@PrepAgent.com. And I'm always here to help. And I'm a real person, not just a website with some questions belted out for you. I think we could attest to that, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So everybody study, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Belinda.